all-inclusive governance in Nigeria to safeguard the present and secure the future has made it mandatory to involve youth at all levels of administration, as they constitute a larger percentage of the total active population. Today on Panorama on the network service of NTA from Ibadan Network Center, our searchlight is on youth inclusiveness towards sustainable good governance. I am Charity Agu. You're welcome on the program. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has pledged his administration's commitment to leveraging on the domestic utilization, processing and international export of Nigeria's massive gas resources as a transition fuel to catalyze the fundamental restructuring of the nation's economy for expansive growth. The president reiterated his commitment to the development of the sector when he received the board and management of the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) Limited at the State House. State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab reports.
You will get exploration, development of gas from West Africa to Europe. We will compete with Russia. We will make money for Nigeria.
President Tinubu long saw the potential in the domestic gas and ready to harness it. Nigeria has about 206 trillion cubic feet of gas in reserves and aims to multiply it in the nearest future. The plans are already in the works with the ongoing Trans-Saharan pipeline project targeting the European markets. Locally too, the demands are growing for electric power, automotive and domestic among other uses, as gas comes handy as transition fuel to cleaner energy. But along the way, there have been two subsisting challenges in the subsector, major as they are intertwined.
For us, just two words will describe it: security and gas supply. They go together. To handle security, that will unlock more gas to plants. We can produce at a higher capacity and we make more revenue. We pay our taxes, huge amounts of taxes and dividend declarations. All that will have an upshot if we can tackle those two major problems.
Visiting the president for the first time provides an opportunity for the Nigeria LNG Limited to bring the issues to the table. But the president is fully aware of them, as he has declared intention to convert the potential in the subsector to prosperity with the establishment of the Ministry of Gas Resources. President Tinubu affirmed that all encumbrances to the entrepreneurial progress and development of Nigeria's industrial citizens, as well as other impediments to business practice in the oil and gas sector, specifically, will be swiftly removed to create more opportunities for Nigerian companies and international partners to thrive on the natural and human resources wealth which God has bestowed upon the nation. And after their meeting, the assurances from the president were apparently satisfactory. LNG Limited says Nigeria's consumption of the natural gas has increased by over 1,000% in the last 15 years. And so too must investments be now multiplied to meet the needs and, most importantly, to cash in on the growing global markets. From the State House, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
Have applauded President Bola Tinubu over the bold reforms he has taken to reposition Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy, back to economic growth and a place of increased investment. They stated this in a forum in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Ayomiko Ajibola has the details.
With 200 million people and an estimated gross domestic product of $440 billion in 2021, Nigeria is Africa's most populous country and the continent's largest economy. The country is set for each economic growth owing to the current financial and economic reforms such as removal of petrol subsidy and the unification of Naira's multiple exchange rate embarked upon by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
making the best possible use of the revenues that will now flow to the Federation, but in a way that makes sure that ordinary people can get some relief.
With Nigeria saving about 3.9 trillion in 2023, equivalent to 1.6% of the GDP, following petrol subsidy removal and foreign exchange market unification move. These policies have been praised by economists and investors for their potential to boost economic growth and attract foreign investment.
We need to be less monocultural and be better diversified in very genuine and value-adding ways.
Everybody will have to make a lot of sacrifice to make sure that the implementation of all this, the transformation agenda become fruitful.
They advise that the country can leverage these reforms to bend its development path upward and also optimize its full potential, highlighting the need to provide some timely, temporary, and targeted assistance. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Nigeria has moved up from 39% in 2017 to 54% in 2023 joint external evaluation of its health security systems. Team of the WHO evaluators reviewed this in Abuja at the end of a 5-day assessment by multi-sectoral experts from around the world for Nigeria's second joint external evaluation. Uche Ugochukwu reports.
This team of WHO Joint External Evaluation JEE, comprising experts from the agriculture, environment and health sectors, has in the past 5 days assessed Nigeria's capacities to prevent, detect and respond to evolving public health emergencies. Having scored Nigeria 54%, the team members all agreed that more needs to be done to close the remaining 46% gap, especially in the area of coordination.
If you don't share those experiences, if you don't pull out our brothers and sisters from the animal health sector and the environment sector, we may not achieve much even in the next JEE because you are evaluated as a country.
You know, JEE measures what you can do much more than what you are doing.
You are dedicated. The people who are working for you are professional and skilled, but they are understaffed. It is necessary that there will be more implementation of the plans that are made at the highest level to the local levels. You have to see that there will be more medical facilities, that there will be more medical staff, that your food will be safer.
While interacting with newsmen, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which is the coordinating agency, pledged to take the lead in better health security for Nigeria in the identified areas of weakness.
Beyond the score, it is important for us to focus on the gaps that were identified, the priority actions as recommended, the priority activities that will definitely come in the detailed reports, and to use this to inform the next National Action Plan for Health Security as well as other government priorities.
In a span of about 5 weeks, the JEE team is expected to develop a comprehensive national action plan from the final report of Nigeria's second JEE. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Of Nigeria, CBN has raised concerns over the increasing rate of illegal financial operators, IFOs, activities in the country. In a statement titled Advisory on Illegal Financial Operators, the Central Bank of Nigeria noted that the activities of IFOs portend a grave risk to the country's financial system. Recently, many Nigerians lost their hard-earned money to IFOs in different parts of the country. To curb the growing trend, the FSRCC urged the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed or illegal financial operators who lure and defraud unsuspecting members of the public by offering huge returns of investments. It urged Nigerians to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on the website of the CBN, https://www.cbn.gov.ng, NICOM, https://nicom.gov.ng, PENCOM, https://www.pencom.gov.ng, and SEC, https://sec.gov.ng. Youths are future leaders, hence the need for governments at all levels to invest in the youth towards preparing them for the responsibility ahead through inclusion. Correspondent Ifeoluwa Omoshule in this report takes a look at the youth's inclusiveness towards sustainable governance.
In Nigeria, the youth population is said to be dominant, as researches imply that youth population covers 60% of Nigeria's population. Experts therefore believe that government should leverage on this population strength to better the economy of the nation in terms of organizing many empowerment programs tailored towards building their capacity in many areas, as they reiterated that the empowerment programs should be benefited by all youths, including those at the grassroots.
And we will make everybody know that yes, youths we are the future. We should be change agents. Though we have some youths involved in some moral or social vices out there, yes, but out of every 12 disciples, we always have a Judas. That is those youths. But we will not keep quiet. We will keep on advocating.
The governor for your state, you have a lot of program for the youth this time around, the 2.0. Now, of recent, the governor addressed the entire state that 500 million is being emerged aside for empowerment. That every youth that have entrepreneurship can have access to a soft loan without paying any interest.
They also advocated youth's participation in politics to make their voices heard towards contributing their own quota to nation building.
With the numbers, they should maximize that number and engage in politics. Organize yourself, look for the most intelligent among you and the most committed. Elect them into that position of leadership to give you what you want. Because it is you who wears the shoe that know where it pinches.
Stakeholders therefore reiterated the need for more government policies that will aid youth involvement in governance. In Ibadan, Ifeoluwa Omoshule, NTA.
Discussion segment comes up shortly after the break. Stay with us.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
As we examine youth inclusiveness towards sustainable good governance, our guest today is Professor Nito Shenge from Department of Psychology, University of Ibadan. Prof, welcome on the program.
Thank you, Charity. Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, sir. So most youth in Nigeria are still dependent. Why saddling them with the enormous responsibility of governance?
Well, thank you so much for that question. Well, they may be said to be dependent, but that may not apply to all of them. And there is need to saddle them with their responsibility because it's a learning process and it should be a learning process. We should recognize them as part of the society, as people who are supposed to participate in the governance of this country, and to act now while also preparing the future, because whether we like it or not, later on, those who are in position of authority now will not be there. And those who are called youth now will take over. So when we begin to prepare them now, it's a good thing because they are not just learning, they are also preparing for the future.
Okay, Prof. Don't you think a lot needs to be considered before bringing them on board fully?
Yeah, thank you. A lot needs to be done, but that does not mean that we should put everything in place before bringing them in, on board, because that would be disastrous. There will be a wide gap. And that is why from the very beginning, we are supposed to carry the youth along in terms of training them, in terms of the upbringing, in terms of the courage, in terms of the truth that we realize that their participation will bring about changes, positive changes in the society. So we need to begin to teach them at the very end in terms of upbringing, in terms of the values we imbibe in them, in terms of the morals we teach them, in terms of the education. In fact, talking about education, I mean the quality of education that we give them, in terms of the necessary exposure that we're supposed to give them. So we should not wait until it is their own time before we begin to put things in place. That will amount to creating a gap that is very disastrous in the future.
Okay, so should we blame the foundation of policies formulation?
Well, yes, I think to a large extent, a reasonable extent, yes, we should blame the foundation, the policies. Why? Because, well, first of all, let me say that the definition of youth across nations varies, different definitions that countries give. However, the United Nations, for statistical reasons, has defined the youth as those people in the age bracket of 15 to 24. So this is a very important age bracket, and they constitute about 18% of the world population. And so we need to give them a good foundation. So the question to ask is, have we been doing that in Nigeria, in Africa, in developing nations? The answer is no, we have not been doing that adequately. And some countries have been doing a lot better than others, but we still have a long way to go. Because in every sector that you consider, in every sphere of life, you realize that there are gaps in the way we form youth, we allow youth to grow in this part of the world. So let's look at education. Do we have the necessary infrastructure that we form youth the way they are? Go to schools across the country, at the secondary school level, primary school level, look at sporting facilities, for instance. Are they adequate enough to develop the youth very well in terms of their interaction, in terms of their leadership abilities, in terms of connecting with others? No, they are not. What about area of health, area of governance, so many other areas? There are so many inadequacies. Okay. So we have a long way to go.
Oh, okay, so what should be the driving force for a youth preparing to champion good governance? What should he or she equip his or herself with?
Well, first of all, he or she shouldn't just be equipped like that automatically. There has to be a foundation. And that foundation is a good environment, an environment that is exciting, an environment that is inspiring, an environment that teaches and points a way to the future in a positive way. Which means that we have to teach them the necessary skills, leadership skills, interpersonal skills, educational skills, and so many other skills, life skills generally, so that they will be able to function now very well and in the future. So there's a lot that needs to be done, and that entails having good models, people that you will look at and say they can look up to these people as people that they can trust.
Okay, all right, Prof. So away from that, the Ogun State Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abeokuta is set to deliver judgment on the election petition filed by Yusuf Ogundele of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) against the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and two others in the Info 1 state constituency election on a date to be transmitted to all the parties. Our correspondent reports.
At the resumption of the hearing of the petition filed by the PDP candidate in the State Assembly election in Ifo State Constituency 1, Yusuf Ogundele, against 3 respondents, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Lakunle Olomo, and All Progressives Congress, APC, seeking the tribunal to grant the prayers of the petitioner. Counsels to the petitioner and the respondents presented their final written addresses for adoption by the tribunal, in which there was initial motion and objection in respect of tardiness of the counsel to petitioner in filing his final written addresses.
Proceeding has to do with the parties adopting their respective written addresses, the petitioners and likewise the first, second and third respondents. And the petitioners had filed an application for them to regularize their petitioner's final written address, which was filed out of time. And the tribunal granted that said application, and parties adopted their respective final written addresses.
In their arguments, the counsels to the respondents were unanimous, praying the tribunal not to consider the petition of the petitioner for lack of merit.
The gravamen of it is that we, on the respondent position, that the petitioner, they've not made out their cases. They've not discharged their evidential burden before the court to enable the court to grant their prayers, which is to declare them as the winner, or either way, declare the election null and void and do a rerun.
The counsel to the petitioner also presented his argument and urged the tribunal to grant the prayers of the petitioner.
Based on what we have filed and what we have been able to establish during trial, that there were infractions and malpractices during the election perpetrated by the respondents altogether, that is by the second and third respondents in connivance with the first respondent, INEC.
The tribunal later adjourned judgment to a date that will be communicated to the councils. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
And talking sports, Bendel Insurance will today face Aso Clef Football Club of Algeria in the 2023-24 CAF Confederation Cup in Benin City. These and more with Peter Oibo on Sports Updates.
Ahead of today's first leg CAF Confederation Cup tie between Bendel Insurance and Aso Clef of Algeria at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Governor Godwin Obaseki has expressed confidence that the team will come out victorious with the support the team will get from the home fans.
Just make sure you do your bit, because we, government, will do our bit for you. Just relax, rest, and we trust you. We know what you are capable of doing.
The match is scheduled to kick off at 4 o'clock in the evening. Meanwhile, all is set for the West African Football Union Waffle B qualifiers for this year's CAF Women's Champions League to begin on Sunday at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City with 6 teams from Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Burkina Faso, Benin Republic and Cote d'Ivoire were on ground, while Niger Republic did not show up as a result of the crisis in that country.
Request that we should make another draw, taking into account only teams in Group A. Just not one team there to balance the other groups. This is what we have done, and from there we'll make the fixtures that will clearly tell us the different games that we played in the 20th of August.
Nigeria's representative team Delta Queens are in Group A alongside USFA of Burkina Faso and Sam Nelly FC of Benin Republic. In English Premier League features, Liverpool will meet Bournemouth at Anfield, while Wolves face Brighton as Fulham takes on Brentford. Manchester United will tackle Tottenham as Manchester City confronts Newcastle. And in volleyball, Nigerian female team on Friday bounced back to winning ways in their 3rd match at the ongoing 2023 African Senior Women's Volleyball Championship in Yaoundé, Cameroon, after defeating Burundi 3-0, 25-17, 25-14, 25-9 to record their 2nd win of the championship. With sports update, Peter Oigo, NTA News.
Today. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.